Thank you. You may be seated. All right, I would like to bring up Miss Green for a Women's History Month presentation.
Good morning. I made this presentation all by myself. If you've ever been in a class of mine, it's usually a white background and an Arial font. So this is big time for me. Welcome. We just wanted to talk a little bit today. Did it go away? Can you see it? About Women's History Month, as we've been sort of celebrating throughout the month with Dr. Hart's and Glee Club songs and our advisory activities, the movie we watched on Wednesday, and I'm sure there are various things happening in all of our classes as well. But we just wanted to talk a little bit about the history of Women's History Month today. So this year's theme, as set forth by the National Women's History Alliance, which is a consortium of women's groups and historians who select and publish the yearly theme for Women's History Month, is Women Who Advocate for Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion. And again, that is something we hope we're doing here at SEM every day as well. So just a little bit of history. Women's History Month began as a local celebration in Santa Rosa, California. The Education Task Force of the Sonoma County Commission on the Status of Women planned and executed a Women's History Week celebration in 1978. They selected the week of March 8th to correspond with International Women's Day, which was already something that had been celebrating. And then the movement spread across the country as other communities initiated their own Women's History Week celebrations the following year. In 1980, various women's groups lobbied for a national recognition for their week, and then in February of 1980, President Jimmy Carter issued the first presidential proclamation declaring the week of March 8th, 1980 as National Women's History Week. And then finally, in 1987, Congress passed Public Law 100-9, designating March as Women's History Month. So it's only been around for just a little bit longer than I've been alive. Sada, what are you, sleeping over there? Okay. All right. So, and then the National Women's History Alliance, again, kind of oversees the theme and any planning that needs to occur, okay? So this is like a brief timeline of women's suffrage, because that's often what we think about when we think about the women's movement, especially the sort of first wave of it. Many of you know about the Seneca Falls Convention in 1848, right? Right down 90. Great job, guys. So we often think of that, but initially, right, that's a movement of mostly upper to middle class white women, and even when the 19th Amendment was passed in 1920, many Black and Indigenous women were still denied the right to vote. So over time, the women's rights movement came to include and advocate for equality for all women, equal rights for all women, women of color, women of all sexual orientations, and people who identify as female. So here are just a couple statistics from Pew Research Center. These are mostly from 2023, but just an idea about the gender gap that still exists in our country. About a third of workers in our country, this is all U.S. Women's History Month, just so everyone's aware. About a third of the workers in the country's 10 highest paying occupations are women. That's up from 13% in 1980. Women have increased their presence in almost all of these high paying jobs. Workers in these occupations typically earn more than $100,000 per year and include physicians, lawyers, and dentists. But despite these gains, women are still the minority in 9 of these 10 high paying jobs. Pharmacists are the only exception. The share of women in the other 9 occupations remains well below their share in the U.S. workforce overall. Women in 2022, U.S. women typically earned 82 cents for every dollar that men earn. The largest contributors that were measured to measure this, among other factors, are the types of jobs that women have and the lower compensation offered in those jobs. Women still lag in top leadership positions in business and government. As of September 2023, 28% of U.S. congressional members and about a third of state legislators are women. There are only 12 female governors in the United States. When regarding the presidential cabinet, President Joe Biden's cabinet is a rare example of gender parity in government leadership. Of the 25 cabinet or cabinet level positions, 12 are held by women. And then among executive business leadership, only 11% of Fortune 500 company CEOs are women, along with only 30% of Fortune 500 company board members. And then finally, the National Organization of Women, one of the leading groups for women's rights in our country, counts among their current priorities championing things like reproductive rights and other women's health issues, opposing racism, fighting bigotry against the LGBTQIA community, and ending violence against women. So there are many strides to be made here, and I know you're all committed to working towards those. You'll notice today many of the adults in the buildings, your teachers, are wearing something that represents or celebrates a women's issue, person, et cetera, who is important to them, or wearing purple and green, the colors of Women's History Month. So please take a moment today to ask your teachers, any adults you're familiar with, your advisor, about their shirt, sign, colors, whatever that may be, because we actually put a lot of thought into this. So please ask them about why that's important to them. And then, you always got to have a works cited page, right? All right, happy Women's History Month. Thanks, everyone.
Okay.
And it has not passed. Beware the Ides of March. And to heaven.
Good morning, Buffalo Seminary. I am Gaius Cassius de Longinus. Today is Friday, March 15th, and I have taken over the Senate. I am quickly realizing now that this may have been a bad decision, but it is a little too late for that, so we're going to roll with this for now. It is a C for Caesar day on your schedule, and today is the Ides of March. Today for lunch is Reuben salad sandwiches with Caesar salad, though any salad is a Caesar salad if you stab it enough times. The Jazz Club meeting has been canceled, as has the Morgan's Message meeting. And since I'm in charge now, I decree you should all definitely come to see Night Night Roger Roger tonight at 7. That's all for now. Any Senate announcements? No? Okay. Any commoner announcements? Yes, you.
Senator, Dictator, the peasants have requested that we explain the Ides of March.
Very well.
As you can see, we have committed a federal crime this lovely morning of March 15th, which is the Ides of March. In Shakespeare's Julius Caesar, Caesar was warned twice by the soothsayer and once by his wife. His wife, which he ignored during Women's History Month. On this very day, Caesar was stabbed by about 60 senators 23 times because they opposed his dictatorship. Take note. The rebellion was led by Marcus Junius Brutus and Gaius Cassius Longinus. In the play Julius Caesar, Brutus and Caesar are old friends, which is how we get the iconic line, et tu, Brute. The Ides of a month actually just means the full moon in the middle of the month, usually the 13th or 15th, and the Ides of March used to mark the new year. Lots of festivals, sacrifices, and activities like that were held on that day. So please, enjoy the Ides, and maybe you'll be next.
All right, the bell rang, so have a great day and get to class.